sure all your questions are answered. So take it over, Rob.
All right, well, thanks everybody. It's a delight to be with you all again at this roundtable. This roundtable is really going to focus in on the connection, the usability of AGvisorPRO to connect farmers with advisors and also industry specialists. To start us off, we're going to share a video with you. So Patrick, if you'd like to run the video, please, and then I'll introduce everybody and our panelists.
Hey everyone, it's Patrick here from AGvisorPRO. I think a lot of people are wondering how the trade show season is going to go this year. How's that going to work? How are farmers going to enter your booth or chat with your reps? How will you demo your products live? You know, actually see and talk to digital visitors. AGvisorPRO has a solution with its Tech Direct program. Tech Direct makes a face-to-face connection between potential customers and your reps remotely. So your booth, it can be anywhere. And your reps, they really just only need a clean shirt.
Well, I'm going to take this opportunity now to tell you a little bit about where we came from and where we're going with AGvisorPRO. It was late in 2018 that I mashed together a PowerPoint presentation basically combining eHarmony together with Uber, together with FaceTime, together with Twitter, and I shared that idea with farmers to determine whether or not there was an appetite for this kind of a platform that we had in mind. And indeed, farmers expressed that this was something of interest, and so we struck the company, we trademarked AGvisorPRO, and we began the development and resulted in the launch of the minimum viable product last July at AginMotion. So the hypothesis that I had, the theory, was that there's going to be all sorts of Internet of Things or connectivity devices, sensors that will tell a farmer where he has a problem. What the problem is, well, that may happen with recognition software and artificial intelligence, but why the problem is there and how to fix it, well, I think that's going to be the realm of the human being for a long, long time. So what we've done with AGvisorPRO, it's a connection between high tech and high touch. We want to leverage the tech, but we also recognize that the wisdom and knowledge of experts in agriculture is very, very important. And so we're creating a way to connect that high tech with the high touch. That's what AGvisorPRO is designed to do. And so we embarked on a mission to effectively shrink time and space. And this built on the work that we did with AgriTrend, which I founded in 1997. And we grew to one of North America's largest agricultural consulting firms, eventually selling AgriTrend and AgriData to Trimble. Following that, I was on a mission with Dot Technology Corp, which was acquired by Raven Industries. And that's effectively when I came back to lead AGvisorPRO. And since March, we've grown our company from 2 to over 20 people. And this has resulted in us being able to do something amazing for agriculture. AGvisorPRO is more than just connecting farmers and experts. What we've been able to create with AGvisorPRO is an interconnectivity matrix that can connect farmers and independent experts and industry experts and researchers and government and even the public on a matrix where everybody can communicate using AGvisorPRO. So AGvisorPRO has a number of facets to it. Farmers are able to link to experts with AGvisorPRO instantaneously. Imagine connecting with people like Tom Wolfe and talking about spraying, or Scott Mears about insects, or Derek Squire about grain marketing. That's the power that you have. For small to medium-sized agricultural businesses and agricultural suppliers and manufacturers, we've got something called Tech Direct. Tech Direct is where we register your company, your products, and your representatives, and we create instantaneous accessibility between people who have questions about your company or your products and your technical representatives, and this is all done in the app for free. And finally, instant access is about AGvisorPRO being embedded inside of other applications, SaaS platforms, or CRMs. It's really creating instant connectivity using AGvisorPRO within another platform or application. We're also hopeful that we'll be able to white label and work with mental health associations to offer mental health support for the agriculture community using AGvisorPRO. The bottom line is we're just getting started. We're growing our team, so we're needing to hire more people. We're growing our partners. We need to have more Tech Direct partners. We're growing our user base. We're growing our investors. So if any of those things appeal to you, please reach out to us. And finally, I just urge you to download AGvisor Pro on iOS or Android or desktop. Download the application. If you're a farmer, you can start using it right away for free by connecting to Tech Direct partners. If you're an expert, build your profile and you can start leveraging your knowledge and wisdom to truly help agriculture in a brand new way to provide answers now with AGvisor Pro. Thanks, Patrick, for doing that. So if anybody has questions, you can please put them in the chat, and Patrick will be monitoring the chat and then feeding back the questions to us through the course of the hour. If you're not speaking, I would ask that you mute your microphone and then unmute when you're taking over the airwaves. I'd like to introduce the team, and then I'm going to introduce our panelists. So Patrick, if you could introduce yourself, and then Chris, and then Wilson. So Patrick, take it away.
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Patrick Walter. I'm the co-founder and currently COO of the company. I've been there pretty much since the first minute of AGvisor Pro. So this has been an exciting rodeo for me personally, as well as for the company. And maybe I just talk a little bit about why I'm so excited about this opportunity. I think, you just look what the pandemic COVID-19 has shown in the last little while, that those types of interaction face to face, that's really where the future lays. And I think it kind of fast tracked that strategy and fast tracked on why this is important. And I'm quite excited that we have a product that is specifically made for agriculture and that can facilitate those things. So yeah, that's me.
Well, and Patrick is beaming in from Calgary, Alberta, and then we have Chris Babbins, who's up. He lives in Canistino, but he is up in the Prince Albert region right now. Chris, tell us about yourself, what you do, and why you're connected with this motley crew.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, good evening, everybody. As Rob said, joining you here from beautiful Prince Albert National Park on a sunny day. So great to be here. I'm joining AGvisor Pro, actually officially start next week, but was excited to be a part of this Ag in Motion panel and the presentation. My role here with AGvisor Pro will be the sales team lead. The reason I'm excited to be part of this company is I look at agriculture today and how much it has changed, and know that the trajectory of change within agriculture it's just going to continue to take off. And what that means to me is that producers are going to be looking for different ways to access that information, to connect with those experts, and to find out how they can make those changes on their own farm. And this platform, once I found out more about it, it feels like a perfect fit to help with that change trajectory, and just excited to be a part of it.
Right on. Wilson Schultz. Wilson, are you in Wetaskiwin today?
Yeah, I'm in Wetaskiwin, moving out to Calgary soon. So yeah, I'm Wilson Schultz, and I'm in customer success with AGvisor Pro, and a lot of what I do branches into sales and marketing as well. So I'm really excited to be a part of the team because we're changing the way that agriculture communicates. We're taking the technology that we already have, but that's been made really apparent during COVID, as Patrick said, and we're leveraging that to connect everyone in agriculture in a better way and just really improve the remote connectivity in this sector. So that's why I'm really excited to be here.
Glad to have you on board, Wilson. So from the Three Hills or the Trochu area, we have Jeff Carlson, and I first showed Jeff the idea of AGvisor Pro. Jeff, you'll remember that presentation I did on PowerPoint where we hammered together all that stuff on that trip that you and I were on. And from that, we've developed the app. So tell us a little bit about your farming operation, and maybe the first question would be why did you agree to appear on this panel? And then I'll shift it over to Derek.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. We farm about 18,000 acres in 2 provinces. Farms are 10 hours apart. And I got excited about AGvisorPRO just because I could see it as a tool that we could use for interacting between staff in both places, and then of course connecting with advisors, and people can take it and they can kind of take a picture of a weed or take a picture of a plant, and we can discuss it, and it just makes the world a lot smaller. And so I got excited about that.
Okay. All right, we'll come back to you. And Derek farms in the La Flèche, Saskatchewan area, but he's at the lake right now in his vehicle and joining us on the call. Derek, tell us a little bit about your farming operation and maybe why you agreed to be on this panel.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, no, I farm about 13,000 acres. Southwest Saskatchewan, so mix of pulses, oilseed cereals, chickpeas, lentils, durum wheat, canola, the main ones. And yeah, it's just, to me, this whole thing makes sense just from a time management perspective. You think of how vast ground we're covering and how vast the territories the sales reps have, and the idea of just being able to work with people on a live basis like this. It's and to come here and talk about and discuss with others, it's a great thing. So yeah, that's about looking forward to the questions. But yeah, I think this whole thing could really take off, and it's exciting to have everybody at your fingertips, just on your phone, hopefully within minutes of connectivity. So
now, to be clear, AGvisorPRO is not a consulting organization. It's a connectivity platform. We're creating a brand new way to connect. And both of you guys, I know you both personally, both you guys have agronomists that work with you. But Derek, we were just talking before about some of the other places where you would tap into expertise to get more information to help make decisions. Can you share an example and an idea of how you would use AGvisorPRO on your farm?
Yeah, well, the two ones that stick out to me right away are marketing, for one, and then whether you use Derek Squire or another person on the network, that seems like a really useful tool. If you're making a decision of a $100,000 sale or $500,000 sale, and you just want to double check, your gut's telling you to do it, and everything seems to make sense. But another for the fee for the $10 or a couple of $10 or 10-minute sessions, I mean. To have that ability to talk to an expert in a short period of time like that, and it's when there's an exchange, it's beneficial both ways. They're going to see a fee from it and make money, and so yeah, they have an incentive to answer the phone and talk to you for a bit, and it's that's the easy way to double check. And then the Tom Wolf one's another great one that I see. It's something totally different that's really kind of difficult, I find, to get information on a topic like that, on spray coverage and droplet size and water volumes and nozzle selections and that, and to have somebody, an expert like that before you could maybe try and email someone and they didn't have a lot of incentive to get back to you if they were just trying to sell something, and they didn't have it wasn't related to a sale. It wasn't necessarily a real great way of getting information. But with again, on this platform, I think working with Tom would be great.
Well, it makes it fair, right? Tom and people like Tom and Derek, and I'll throw out Scott Mears, for example. I use that in the video. He's an entomologist, and they're not selling any products. They're selling their knowledge and wisdom. So it makes the transaction pretty clean on your part, doesn't it, Derek?
Yeah, exactly. It's when someone's just, how do you make that knowledge transaction with somebody at a university or something that, or like you say, quite often they will get back to you by email or something, but it's this just makes it clear and concise, and you're exchanging some knowledge for a nominal dollar value transaction, and yeah, I think it's going to work great for areas like that seem kind of that's some of those service sectors it's kind of a gray area as to how you compensate somebody if you haven't signed up for their dollar per acre service across the farm, but you still would like to get some knowledge from them, but you don't feel you need to sign up for their entire program. Is there a way that I can just use you on a per issue basis and almost compartmentalize different aspects of some type of a service that you need? And this looks like a good way of doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what we've done here is by experts can sign up with AGvisorPRO. They set up their profile, and then through our algorithm, we match your query, your question to the expert, creating an instantaneous session, instantaneous connectivity. Jeff, from your perspective, you know, people who maybe aren't on and farming, aren't close to farmers, the number of decisions that you have to make throughout the year are amazing. Can you talk a little bit about how you see leveraging AGvisorPRO as a platform to help you and your decision making, maybe?
Well, I would say probably the number one thing is time. I mean, you have access to, you know, experts, various people, like Derek said, you know, on a moment's notice. Of course, subject to their availability, but you know, the amount of time that we have each day is limited, and especially when you're in season, being able to have access and connect with those people is one factor. You know, the safety aspect too. You know, people are doing a lot of miles these days, driving, crop checking, all this sort of stuff. I mean, sales guys are traveling all over the place. You know, I find that with AGvisorPRO, I can talk to who I want to and get the information quicker, make my decision faster, and quite frankly, in farming, you know, time is everything, so you can make it at a more effective time.
Yeah, you know, I call myself a silver hair as an agronomist. I have quite a bit of knowledge, and I really don't need to be at your side in the field with Jeff for you to show me plants. And I can determine whether it's a nitrogen or sulfur deficiency. I can do that with you, you know?
Yeah.
And so a question for you, what has happened to your farming operation as a result of COVID? And what are some of the things that you're maybe more wary of, or what are some of the effects that are happening on your operation? Same question to Derek.
Well, for starters, I mean, everybody's trying to make their circles smaller, right? You know, the amount of touching and seeing and handshakes and stuff, that's all kind of gone down. Everybody's standing a little bit further apart now. And I mean, there's not been this particular season, there wasn't many visits at all from sales staff. And we didn't want that. We were, as a group, isolated. No one really knew how to respond to the coronavirus and all the different things that you hear on the news. And so we just felt like it was safer just to kind of isolate the group and the team, but then using the AGvisorPRO to reach outwards, so that even though we were isolated physically, you know, we weren't isolated mentally, and we had the ability to connect with the information we needed.
Yeah. Derek, same question to you. What is this new environment? And like, I met your brother-in-law the other day, who's from New York City, and he's doing sequencing of COVID at the New York Genomic, and he's working at a La Flèche. That's amazing. So what is COVID your farming operation, Derek?
Yeah, I think a lot of the same things Jeff just mentioned. You're trying to just limit your exposure to people and sales reps, and especially now in Southwest Saskatchewan, we were kind of, it was a lag when everyone else was dealing with this on the news, and in big cities across the country, there wasn't really a whole lot of cases our way. But now it's getting pretty intense, and it is, you know, a lot of it's concentrated to Hutterite colonies. But again, those are the same people that a sales rep would be going out and seeing before or after they see me at my farm. So yeah, it's starting to get pretty real. It's starting to hit home when you're starting to know people that have or know areas and know communities that are being affected. So yeah, anytime you can lower exposure but still kind of have that same one-on-one face-to-face sales experience, it's really as close as you're going to get. AGvisorPRO is going to give you that as close as you can get without sitting down with that person. Like I say, it's a lot more accurate and transparent than a text message or even just a quick phone call where you might not get it. You're focused straight in, and again, seeing them face to face, and the relationship building is still there, even though they're not right at your kitchen table.
Yeah, and you have the ability with Tech Direct, when you connect with somebody on an AGvisorPRO session, be it an independent advisor or an industry one, that whole session is recorded. That's saved for you, so you can go back and say, geez, that Rob Syke talks damn fast. What did he say again? Or you can refer to it next year when you got the same sprayer setting that you forgot a year later. I'm going to just ask Wilson to give us just an overview, Wilson, of some types of the advisors that are available on AGvisorPRO for these farmers. Just talk to me a little bit about the breadth of experience already on the platform, even though AGvisorPRO is really, really new.
Yeah, for sure. So early on, a lot of people were asking, like, is this just an agronomy service? And that couldn't be further from the truth. We do have a lot of really qualified agronomists on there right now, but we also have equipment technicians. So, and AGvisorPRO is awesome for that, because if a lot of times a tech or somebody from a dealership or just a private mechanic can fix your problem or point you in the right direction without actually being there, and that saves them a lot of windshield time. We also have, not just mechanics and agronomists, but we have financial advice. So you can talk to financial advisors about grain markets. You can even talk to them about succession planning. And then that gets into HR, and we're working with mental health as well right now. So there's a lot of different areas that it can go off in. We're also talking to some people in urban farming, like let's say beekeeping or gardening, stuff like that. It's really broad, and it's not just going to be high production agriculture, but it's definitely not just agronomy. And I guess I didn't touch on livestock yet. We do have a lot of livestock people coming on. So, you know, you can get help marketing your livestock, learning how to feed the right kind of wheat to your livestock. We did a session on that a while ago. So yeah, we've got lots of expertise, and it's really broad.
So Patrick, let's talk a little bit about the Tech Direct, and we just won an award from Ag in Motion. We're really delighted about that, and it was for the idea or the concept that we have called Tech Direct, where we connect farmers to companies instantaneously. Can you give us a rundown? We just launched this, but we've got a healthy group of companies on here already. I'm going to turn back to Jeff and Derek in a minute and say how this might work for them, but why don't you rattle off the names of some of the companies and what they do, and the fact that these farmers can connect to these companies for free using AGvisorPRO.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, this will also address some of the questions that have come into the chat as well. So I'm going to try to talk about that while I'm presenting it. So really, Tech Direct, what it basically does, it's disseminating or getting completely rid of 1-800 lines. Like the way nowadays 1-800 lines work, you basically call into a black box and you hope for the best that you're getting an answer and that you get connected with the right person. And we really said that doesn't quite make sense. So what we're doing is we right away route you to the right person or individual within that company. So if you have a question about, you know, a grain dryer, that you're talking with the grain dryer guy from AGI right away, and not with someone about the augers kind of thing. So that's really what it is in a nutshell. And we said, you know, from the beginning, when we want to build a platform like this, industry is part of the solution very clearly. And so far, you, as a farmer, as a grower, you have the ability to reach out to industry for free. So we wanted to do that, to have the same. So for you to reach out to those industry partners, that's a free call, and it always will be. So, you know, what are some of the current partners that we have on our platform? We just announced this week that AGI, AgGrowth International came on board, as well as Flaman Group of Companies. We have, and that's something Wilson haven't quite mentioned yet, for example, is Hammond Realty. So in the realtor sector, which is, you know, quite out there again. We also have HP Nutrition, who came on board this week. So it's quite a wide variety. And previously, before Ag in Motion, we had Patterson Liquid System joining us, Taurus Agriculture Marketing joining us. Who else? Am I missing someone? Eberhard Ag Solution, Sure Growth Solution is on board as well. So Egg River, yeah, exactly. So the beauty about it is, you as a grower, you don't have to keep in mind anymore all those different 1-800 lines, right? The idea is that you would go on AGvisorPRO and you find all your companies on there. That's really what we want to achieve.
So Jeff, what we're doing here is if we are successful at working with the industry and partnering up with them, you can just in AGvisorPRO just type AGI and you connect automatically to the reps. Now, both of you have utilized 1-800 services, and so I'd like you to talk about that versus what we're trying to do with Tech Direct and AGvisorPRO. Jeff?
Well, for starters, if I could get back the amount of time that I've been on hold with a 1-800 number in my lifetime, I would be happy. We're talking almost years, I'm sure. And even now, it's worse and worse. The delays are longer. You don't get real people. I find that customer service is on a decline. So, I'm excited about having this sort of instant connectivity, or even just a callback, right? I mean, if the person is busy, you can call back and deal with it. So it just makes things so much more efficient. The 1-800 number is antiquated as far as I'm concerned.
Over to you, Derek. So an example would be like Taurus Ag, and you have a Taurus rep in your area, but with AGvisor Pro, you don't have to get a hold of him if he's not available. It just defaults to the next one that can give you the technical support. What do you think of that versus what your experience has been with 1-800?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good format and good way of doing it. Like I say, it gets you directly to that person, not press 4 for this person, wait on hold, then they tell you you're not the right person, go back on hold, press 7 for the next person, or however the 1-800 numbers work. I haven't used one for years. I think the last time I used one, I called in and asked about a product and if it would control volunteer coriander. And they looked it up in a book somewhere and they said, my notes say it makes volunteer coriander angry. And I said, well, what does that mean? She says, well, I don't know. And so then after that, I think that was the last time I ag-related 1-800 number. So to get to someone that actually be able to answer that question properly, not just looking at a note somebody made, but not even being able to tell me what the note meant. So yeah, this format sounds great, that you can go to someone that's a specific product specialist with a certain line of products they have, a certain type of crop or whatever, or if it's maybe more of a programming question, even someone that understands the programming a lot of the chemical companies have now. All those types of things, if you get directly to that person that has the knowledge you want, and just leave the 1-800 numbers out of it altogether. And we could even actually kind of move to almost a hybrid type system for dealing with your sales reps that you deal on a regular basis. Like I have lots I probably deal with every month. We could turn that into a semi-annual face-to-face meeting, and all the gaps in between, use Tech Direct.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Go ahead, Patrick. Adam,
yeah, it's actually a perfect segue. Like there's a question that came in from David, and he asked, what if the reps don't answer? Can I leave a voicemail? And Jeff and Derek, you both alluded a little bit to that. And so the way this works with AGvisor Pro is basically you can either connect now, and it sends a push notification to the expert on the other side, and he can say, hi, hey, I'm available right now, or I want to postpone by 5, 10, or 15 minutes. So you as a grower, when is he going to be ready, right? And if he can't take the call right now, you both have the ability to schedule a session. So if this is maybe not the most urgent pressing issue, and you can just say, hey, tonight at 8 is good, you can schedule a session, and when you're going to get that answer.
We model a lot of it. We model a lot of it after Uber, and some of the delightful parts about Uber is you know how much it's going to cost. The rating. We didn't talk about ratings, but the experts and the Tech Direct reps are going to be rated. So there's rating systems, and you know how long it's going to be before they arrive, and the transaction is seamless. So again, if you're connecting with Tom Wolf and he can't take you this minute, he can say, I'll be with you in 10 minutes, and it counts down and lets you know that you're going to have a connection with Tom in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Or like Patrick said, you can schedule a session in the morning. And in terms of industry, it just keeps defaulting down to the next rep that's available on Tech Direct. So Chris, you just came out of the tech world. You were with Farmer's Edge, and you've been working in the technical world. And so what do you see from a standpoint of utilizing AGvisor Pro with these farmers to help them adopt technology? And again, you're making a big leap for leaving a great organization to take a shot with AGvisor Pro. So you must see something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if I take a look at the precision ag industry in particular, there are so many different aspects and so many different, whether you're talking about, we were talking about hailstorms, and one of the things that there's hail detection systems coming out, and there's the use of satellite imagery, and of course, there's different variable rate services. There's such a wide range of things underneath that precision ag that it's tough for, to be honest, any one company to be experts in everything, right? So you need to be able to utilize each individual company for their own strengths. Again, this platform that we're building here is the perfect way to do that, because you can pick and choose that. If I want to talk to this company if I want to talk to this company about the way that they're utilizing satellite imagery, I can do that. If I want to talk to a different company about how they're using, weather stations, weather systems, I can do that. Soil moisture probes are a big thing that are coming on. What has this individual who's been utilizing soil moisture probes learned over the last, 5 years? There's so many different avenues and different things that fall under precision ag that, it's tough to find one person that is really the go-to person for everything. So just the ability to access a bunch of different sources is really, really, I think it's special.
Let's talk about that, Jeff. In the course of running your farming operation, you get advice. How many times would you like to just cross-check that, or is that something that I think the answer about just getting another second opinion?
All the time. I mean, we as our team, we bounce ideas around through our management team and stuff like that. But that's kind of a what's the word? We're just kind of all together, and so we start to get a little bit of groupthink. So it's always good to check outside the box, and I tend to want to go to people that know, right? You don't necessarily want to talk through multiple layers of people who are learning with you. I would think at this stage of my career, I've usually got kind of this Rolodex list of guys that I want to connect with, or at least, that level of expert. And I see that level of experts moving on to AGvisorPRO, and me having even more access to them than I did before.
So you have no hesitation about paying somebody for their knowledge and wisdom. There's just not an easy way to do that right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, spraying, for instance, I mean, you're spending thousands of dollars an hour spraying, something out. I mean, if you have a question and it's going to make a difference on the efficacy of that product, or prevent you from making a mistake that's going to damage your crop, I mean, money's almost no object, really. The timeliness is really critical.
Derek, over to you. Same question about the cross-checking or having a look at a few different type of sources of information before you pull a trigger or make a decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really see, again, this being really useful when it comes to marketing, and just having someone double check that marketing decision you're about to make. And sometimes you can get so focused in on certain issues or something's going on in this country or trade distortion, you can get the whole you tied up in the passion and your emotional decisions that can be made with marketing sometimes, and having someone rationally explain something to you, and it's either reinforces the decision you made or challenges it. That's where I see the second opinion is really in the marketing side, and as well with any types of products, like what Jeff had said too. If you can double check a question on something, a very specific detail in the efficacy of something, or like say with Tom Wolf, if you can talk to him about fungicide coverage on the bottom of a canola field and the bottom of the canopy, if do I want medium spray droplets or coarse, and 45 degrees ahead, 45 degrees back, straight down. And if someone can give you even something that helps you by 5 or 10%, like I say, that's whatever it costs, a little bit it costs you to talk to him for 5 minutes. And when you're going out to spend $100,000 on a canola fungicide app across your whole farm or across everything,
Yeah, for sure. I know, Patrick, you got some questions, but I just want to ask a question of Wilson again. Wilson, you're a younger member of our crew here, and you're a screenager. You have never grown up without one of these in your hands. It has been in your hands since you were in the crib. So you're a screenager and you're young in the industry, and I want you to talk about how AGvisorPRO has helped you already build your network.
Yeah, totally. So I just graduated from Olds College here this last April. So when you're coming out of college, and especially in the ag industry, you know, you don't have all the contacts that you guys might have at this point. I mean,
You don't have a Rolodex?
no, I don't even know what a Rolodex was. I had to Google that word last week. So, um, but yeah, so AGvisorPRO lets you build your network in a new way. So as a young farmer, you can contact experts that your dad never even had access to in his day, as well as connect with industry in a better way for free, and get that face-to-face connection and really build those connections in your own network, because we don't have the same networks our parents have, and that's just how it is. So.
Yeah. Patrick, we've got some questions coming in from the audience. Can you share another question for us?
Yeah, of course. So Chad asked, what is the state of the product? How will it advance? And long story short is the product is out there. You can download it in the App Store, in the Android store. It's there. It's not vaporware. You can use it today. And we definitely know there's we want to put some more lipstick onto the platform, that it looks a bit nicer and is in certain parts a bit more user-friendly. So we're fully aware of that and are working hard of it. But Wilson, maybe talk a little bit about what is the special that we got happening during Ag in Motion for growers who are signing up and downloading it.
Yeah, I'd love to. We have a few specials, but the special for growers is that we're going to give you $60 worth of free credits to try out the app if you download it during Ag in Motion. So I've been going through the list today, and with all the new downloads we've been getting, I've been giving everyone $60 basically to spend. So $60. Yeah, exactly. I feel like it. So that's enough to get 10 minutes with Tom Wolf, or take your pick of lots of our experts. Some of them are less expensive. But yeah, you can go try it out for free. There's no cost to you. See how it works and build a new relationship.
Yeah,
Cool.
and as a farmer, you know, you can, Derek, you can download the app on your phone, and you can connect with the industry partners for free. So there's no cost to you. And then once you get comfortable with it, if you want to talk to somebody after you've used up your credit, you have to put in your credit card. But that's how those guys get paid. I guess one of the things that we built here, Derek, is that it's agnostic too. It can move between iOS, Android, and desktop. And again, I hope that'll help you guys. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. No, it seems like a lot of I keep an iPad kind of handy a lot of the time, just for doing other farm management things. And I find, you find it handy. So I've had all my apps on there, and yeah, it's just going to fit in well with any other farm management software I have on there. You always have something with you to be able to document whatever you need to do, and connect to wherever you need to connect to.
Yeah, Mike Rain just asked a question about the rates that the experts have, and it's based on their experience, their education, their credentials, and so there's a signing process. We kind of walk the advisors through it, and there's some ranges that we have right now, and eventually we'll probably allow even more optionality in those ranges as we go forward into the future. Patrick,
and Rob, quite to add to that point, what we also built in is rating systems. And I think for the younger generation on this platform or on the call today, they're very well understanding why this is the future, because we just feel like, hey, if you're giving out advice, you should be held accountable for it. And you also should be able to spread the word if you've given out great advice. And so we really see that also a bit of a self-guiding principle that will help you. Okay, should I be reaching out to this person or that person? And by the way, that leads us into a bit of another question as well. It said, I'm just pulling it up here. I recall it was said there is some way that sessions are archived. How do I watch them again?
Oh yeah, that's good.
You know, like that shows again, it's our accountability, right? Like, so this is the session is archived. And the main reason is really that you as a grower can go back, because if, a Tom Wolf is trying to tell you why exactly the nanometer particles of the spraying nozzle are important and you didn't quite get it the first time, you might want to go back and look at that archive again. And so that's built into the platform as well.
And Jeff, you've got a team. Both of you guys got a farm team, and so if one of your team members is using AGvisorPRO, that session is archived, and then if you've talked to somebody about a technical issue, that is saved into your farm account, and you can use it as a training tool with other people. What do you think of that idea?
Love it. Love it. I mean, training is a huge thing in our business right now, and there's always something new. And I just tell people I hate paying for the same mistake, the same lesson over and over and over again. So in this case, once you've paid for that lesson, the rest of your team has access to it, and hopefully it transfers back to greater efficiency, or just quite frankly, no more screw ups.
One of the areas that I believe you guys will utilize AGvisorPRO is on the human resource side, because you guys started out as farmers. Now you're human resource managers, and a lane phrase is available on the platform. And you just can't put a lane on enough airplanes and driving enough places. And Derek, just from a standpoint of HR management issues, the ability to reach out to a professional and talk through some of these issues that you might be facing as a manager. What do you think of that?
Well, it's good, but this is my least favorite aspect of what I do is HR management. So I don't know if that's why you had to direct that question to me, but yeah, it's having expertise in something that I'm really lacking skills in. I guess that's it's not one that excites me as much, calling her to ask to walk me through an HR issue I'm having. But yeah, for sure, to have people, like, again, it just speaks to how broad the network is on here. You can call someone, ask about a tax question, HR question, sprayer question, agronomy question. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for everything we need. And yeah, those are the ones that I maybe should be spending a little more time when I'm scrolling through names, reading the bios and skill sets, because that's probably where I should some days should be focusing more on talking to someone like that. And it would make it a lot easier if it wasn't me having to make an appointment 6 months out and planning that day. I'm just going to keep pushing it down, procrastinating about it. But if it's that accessible and simple, it's probably something that, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to deal with this and make a plan for it, and click the button. Are you available at 9 a.m. tomorrow? Yes, session's booked. It's not a matter of booking 3 or 6 months out, and that way I can change my mind or procrastinate before then.
The other thing that you just mentioned there is the scrolling. Yeah, you can scroll through the advisors that are on the platform, be they industry or independent, and you can star them for future reference. So the app does that. Jeff, family dynamics on the farm and just dealing with the complexity of staff and family. What do you think as you manage a complex operation, being able to talk to people about those kind of things?
Through AGvisorPRO, or like sharing, you mean having the younger generation have access to the experts?
Being able to reach out to somebody like Elaine and talk through some issues.
Oh yeah, critical. I mean, like you said, she can't get on enough planes, and having access to her, in a timely fashion is priceless. I mean, this is not the stuff that's been available in the history of my farming. This level of connectivity and this level of accessibility is just unheard of.
Well, and we wanted to make it easy so we could connect and people can get compensated, and the industry. If I have a buddy in the Lacombe area that farms, and he says, "Psych, if you get enough companies on here, I won't have to remember a 1-800 number again in my life." So that's pretty cool. Patrick, back to you. Do we have any more questions that came in?
Yeah, we do. Joe Tursk is asking, and that's really going kind of like deep down into our hearts. You talked about white labeling in the video. What would AGvisorPRO in other apps look like, and how would you AGvisorPRO support mental health? And I think, Rob, I first turned this over to you, and then maybe to Wilson, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the big initiatives that we're taking on the backstage.
There's a couple of things. I don't want to go too deep in the weeds here, but the one thing that's really in the heart that I've had in my heart right from the start is if we could offer a safe and free and secure manner to help farm families with mental health issues, be they farmers, farm wives, children, whatever. And so that is something we are investigating with a an association in Canada, and we actually would need to have some corporate partnerships to make that available free for the ag community. But that's an example of a white label. The other thing that we did just really interestingly is Bushel Plus, which is a combine measuring service, has just integrated AGvisor Pro inside of their app. So if you're inside the Bushel Plus app and you got a question, you hit the icon in AGvisor Pro and you'll connect instantaneously to technical support inside of their application that's kind of embedded. What other part of it, Patrick? Sorry, I lost the second part.
Yeah, just I think you already somewhat mentioned the mental health side of things, and I just want to be clear on how we kind of see this shaking up. I think, you know, if you as a grower or at home would like to talk to someone else who just feels the same pain and do this, you know, totally secure and no one needs to know, I think that somewhat peer support is really what is somewhat lacking right now in the agricultural space. And we're quite exciting, you know, that you as a grower or as a farm wife or as a kid could be reaching out to someone else who's struggling with the same issues. And we know that agriculture is such a hard business, and there's so much pressure that you have on your shoulders during the time that sometimes it's good to just exchange some ideas with someone else. And to be clear here, we would not be archiving those sessions. That would be completely secure.
We're not there yet, folks. It's just an example. The question was, like, how do we see us utilizing the platform in other ways? And so that was one of the examples. I think one of the questions just came through, you know, a lot of the examples that Jeff, you talked about is around farmers getting advice, but I think the question just came up around peer-to-peer. And we think, Jeff, you're involved in an ag retail. And so we think that AGvisor Pro could really be useful for ag retailer. Like, you got your agronomists out there. Well, they can tap into other people that you know, your agronomists are supporting other farmers, but those agronomists can tap into independent guys like Ray DeBanco on fertilizer, or they can tap into the industry instantaneously. That's another whole venue, is the ag retail support. What do you think about that?
Oh, you know, in season, the ag retailer is always, quite frankly, overloaded, right? I mean, we're always short on time. You know, there's a million things to do between bringing product in, helping the customer select the right product. I mean, we lean on our ag retailers quite a bit. So if we can make the communication more efficient, you know, we're not going in there kicking around and having to have a cup of coffee and wait our turn to talk to the guy that's sitting at the desk looking through the blue book. We can just basically, you know, connect with him instantly. He can look it up, we can look it up, and we can have that discussion without anybody traveling. Unfortunately, the coffee consumption tends to go down.
An unscripted question for you both to think about. I'll let you ponder this one a little bit, but it would be cool to get it from a farmer perspective. What other ideas might you have to implement or to leverage AGvisor Pro in your operation? What other things might come into your imagination that we could look at that we don't even know? This is not scripted, and you guys have put a lot here. But do you have any other ideas, Derek, on where we might be able to offer services or support for you guys using the platform?
One that I think of right away is through machinery dealerships with service managers and stuff. It's one of those things where they have a service, they have a knowledge, and yeah, I bring my combine there to get fixed, my sprayer there to get fixed, but I'm calling them from a field with a problem, quite often leaving a message. No one's really getting back to you, and it's usually just a technical support type thing. I got a glitch, this won't turn on, and I need to reprogram this, or I lost the calibration numbers out of this because I didn't key cycle the machine right at the beginning of the day, and I just need someone to give me 5 minutes of their time. But they're booked up doing their own things, and there's no financial benefit for them to put aside what they're doing to call me back. And actually, it was funny that that's probably the last time I've used a 1-800 number. I paid a subscription fee to have a tech support line on a 1-800 number, and was actually using it for certain things like that. And this was one of the, when I got rolling through all the lists of people on here, that was one thing that I noticed was missing. I'm like, we need a John Deere, Case IH, New Holland technical support person, not necessarily a mechanic, but just all the software issues and platform programming type guy on there. And there's some, but I didn't see as much for the main major equipment manufacturers. And I think if they could have one on there now, that'd be great. I'd be willing to pay the money to not have to wait for a 2-hour callback from the dealership because, you know, they're busy. My machine's sitting. I'm gladly willing to pay a fee to get going again.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. You know, I know the last time we did the roundtable, Tim Pattison of Pattison Liquid Equipment says to us on the call, on this roundtable, he said, you know, it's really hard for me to coach you when you're describing the device as a doohickey. He says,
Yeah.
I'm, or as you know, or it's the blue ball valve on the north side of the sprayer. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Any ideas on your side, Jeff?
Well, I definitely mirror that one that he was talking about with the dealerships. As a matter of fact, I've actually spoken to our, you know, the team. We call the dealer actually part of our team. And so we looked at them and said, hey, you know what, we want you guys to get on this, you know, and have access to the key guys that we work with, because be fair with them, because there's lots of times when there's calls and we work kind of 24/7. So there's calls that are after hours and you're bugging the sales guy or you're bugging the parts guy and you're, you know, about something, or probably more the mechanics. And, you know, you're getting billed sometimes, you know, I think that they struggle with how to do that. And I just think it's a fair system. The system really works well in making sure people are compensated.
The other thing that happens on the dealership side is once a dealer rep gives out his cell number, he's available to be leveraged, you know, 365, 24/7. So what we built inside of AGvisorPRO is a scheduling system. So we register the company name, we register the company's proprietary products and services, and we register the company's reps. And then they can go in there and I can say, Wilson, you got Sunday night, Chris, you got Monday, Tuesday, and Patrick, you got Wednesday evening, and we can schedule that whole thing. So you, even coming on with AGvisorPRO, will cascade down, and you'll plug into somebody, and the other people are basically off because they are.
They are. And, you know, Rob, you know, it comes down to that old 80-20 rule too. You know, in most businesses, whether they be the dealerships or fertilizer or whatever, you know, 80% of the customers do 20% of the business, and then 20% of the customers do 80% of the business. And lots of times those 20% are, you know, super busy or motivated. They're not the ones that are standing around having coffee. And so, you know, and I don't mean to say that's wrong to have coffee or hang out. I mean, that's a good thing to do. But as a business owner, and if you're running a dealership, you know, you want your guys to spend time and to be available for those customers that are actually purchasing. Some of the guys that are just kind of hanging out for the day because they like the environment, you know, they're taking up a lot of your people's time.
So,
You know,
Wilson, I know you're probably closest to all the growers and to all the clients and stuff. What comes into your mind in terms of, you know, like the mechanical side of things? What have you heard so far?
Yeah, so just when I was listening to this, it just jumped into my head, this spring in the Terragator. I had another problem with the Terragator. We were on a John Deere sprayer, but we also have a Terragator, and they're both great, but our mechanic is remote for the Terragator. They're down in Trochu and we're in Wetaskiwin. So we don't actually see very much of them, and we solve a lot of problems remotely over the phone. But when I'm in the field, the head mechanic there, who I always call, I have his cell phone number, he doesn't have an iPhone and I have an iPhone. And so I can't connect with them over FaceTime. And we've tried, I always forget every time. I'm like, well, FaceTime me. And it never works. And the amount of times that he could have saved a service call or had me spent less than an hour on the phone out in the field, you know, and he doesn't want to take my calls after that because I've taken up an hour of his time, and I do this on a weekly basis because we're running stuff hard. Just the cross-platform connectivity that AGvisorPRO would be able to provide means that if he has an Android, he can still connect face-to-face with me. And even better, if he's a private guy, he's getting paid for his time. And if he's with the dealership, I can actually work with his schedule instead of just bugging him out of the blue if he can't take the call.
You know, another thing, guys, I want to ask you both a question. I was with a equipment manufacturer this week talking about AGvisorPRO. So you buy an air seeder unit, Derek, from somebody, and it's brand new and it's under warranty, and the company is obligated to support you, right? I mean, you bought a brand new piece of equipment, and you should have access to their people. Jeff, you go to Ritchie Brothers and you buy a used air seeder, and you're calling that dealership for support, but they're not getting anything out of that whole situation. So what do you comments around that, Jeff?
Sorry. Well, yeah, there again, it's about being fair. It's about seeing people get compensated for what they're contributing to our success. I mean, we don't want anybody to have a free ride. We want to make sure that people are compensated, but at some pieces we buy used. I look at our combines. We've got some that quite a few we bought from the dealership, but there's a few that we have bought at Ritchie Brothers, and you know they answer the phone for us on those ones only because we bought some of the other ones. But this is a way that I think can even the playing field and can provide some fairness to the industry.
One of our AGvisorPRO Mackenzie Fingerhut came up with the idea of partnering with auction marts, so that Derek, you could tap into the auction rep and have the auction rep go out to the piece of equipment using AGvisorPRO, and you could do a detailed inspection of the piece of equipment with him guiding you and you asking, what do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I never thought of that one. I haven't taken any sales since COVID started, but yeah, no, that is a great idea. You can only see so much from pictures. To have an actual walk around and, hey, I can't quite see what's going on here, and there's one component I really like to check out. And yeah, no, that's a good idea, because a lot of these sales, especially the yard sales, I'm not close to any of the Ritchie Brothers yard sales. I'm 3.5 hours from Saskatoon, and that's my most common yard sale to go to. So if it saves me that trip, again, it's if I drive all the way there, go to the sale, come back, I've lost a whole day. And if I didn't purchase anything, that's completely a day wasted, right? So if you can just kind of, yeah.
Rob, kind of before we wrap this up in this conversation, it seems like Mike Rain really honed into our rating scheme as well, and he's giving out ratings for the panelists. So it's not looking good for you, Rob.
Oh, very funny. Hey, I want to, just as we wrap up, I want to ask Chris a question, because Chris, you stumbled upon another user case scenario for AGvisorPRO, and that is the veterinarians. So the vets can't go on farms today, and I just wanted to cover that off as the livestock sector before we wrap this up. So tell me about what you discovered this last little while.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a family member who's a veterinarian, and they were telling me about just how busy they've become, with COVID and people not wanting to come in to meet with them. The amount of calls that they're getting, and it comes back to, Jeff, you put it well, just being fair, and they're answering the calls. They're taking time out of the day to return these calls, and often the individuals that are calling in, they're just trying to describe the comments, but it's not over it's not over a FaceTime platform. We're able to actually see the animal. They're not necessarily wanting to bring it in, or maybe they're 3 hours away. In Saskatchewan here where I live, there is less and less vet clinics at all times, and people are having to travel further for this. So it's just that ability to potentially have a look at some of these animals, have some of these conversations over a platform like this, allow the vet clinics to schedule their time a little bit more effectively, so they're not just returning calls, and allow the customers, the consumers,
and getting compensated for their wisdom. I mean, they went to school for how many years?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's something we're looking into, and the other thing too with that is that you as a veterinarian, I don't necessarily want to hand out my phone number either. So this is something that we're looking at, and how that might work is, as far as just you have a question or a follow-up from a procedure that your animals had, how we can have that built into this. So more to be continued, more to come on that as we continue to explore that.
You could set your hours on AGvisorPRO, make yourself available, and monetize your wisdom using the connectivity. So we're going to wrap this up. It's been a really, really good session. I'm going to let Derek and Jeff have the final words here. Derek, any closing thoughts about participating in this and the new world that we find ourselves in?
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for the opportunity. I always enjoy discussing things like this. And if I could just sum it up in kind of one kind of final point, I guess I was thinking of this, just time management. I couldn't imagine what this could eventually do for us in time management. Like if I jumped on my side-by-side, scouted fields, fixed a piece of machinery, made a quick marketing call to confirm a sale, and do all that stuff in a matter of an hour or something like that. Like it just, the time management savings that could be a result of this would be incredible.
Yeah, and Jeff, I don't think that anything replaces me sitting down at your farm with you, having a coffee, enjoying time with you and Arlene. But one thing that COVID has showed us is platforms like Zoom that we're on right now, and running a digital show like Ag in Motion is trying to do, is that there is a way to do some of this.
Yeah. One thing too, I mean, I agree time savings are huge, but it's also a matter of, I believe when you're paying for a service, you get a better service, you get better attention. I get better attention when I go out to a restaurant and I'm paying a waiter or waitress to, well, when you used to, kind of like the old, but you kind of got better service and just in the line of McDonald's. It's the same sort of thing here with AGvisorPRO. When you're paying the person, you have their attention. They are engaged with you. They're not distracted, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and there's no small talk, and we've been surveying this, and we think that most questions can be answered in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, no small talk. You just get straight to it. Give me the goods. Give me the answer. I'm on. That's why AGvisorPRO is about answers now. Well, everybody who's been on the session with us, we're delighted that we could do this roundtable. I want to thank Derek and Jeff and my cohorts, Wilson and Chris and Patrick, for being on here. Thanks to Ag in Motion for being brave and taking on the digital challenge. It's a brand new, strange world. I don't think anything eclipses us having a beer in the AGvisorPRO Lounge at Ag in Motion, but this was a lot of fun. So hats off to everybody. It's going to be a great weekend in Western Canada, so let's enjoy it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Now
Thank
head
you,
over
Rob.
to the AIM Lounge, sponsored by AGvisorPRO, because I'm in there tonight, so I want people to chat with. So make sure you guys check out that right after we hang up here. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Bye.
boys. Thanks, guys.